Hi, my name is David Cook. I am the clarinet professor at Millikin University, and in this video we'll be talking about Rose Etude number 5. This etude is a very lyrical etude, but there's also a lot of technical and rhythmic difficulties in it, which we'll address in this video. I have a few tips that I think you'll find helpful. First and foremost is rhythm. You have to be so rhythmically precise with this etude. There are so many different rhythmic figures and types in this that it's really easy for them to all sort of sound the same, but we want to be very accurate. You have triplets, you have sixteenths, you have 16th note triplets and 32nd notes, and we want to make sure every one of those is distinct. A couple areas that are especially problematic is measures 25 through 27 and measures 31 through 32. And if you haven't numbered your measures in this etude, I suggest doing that because I'll make reference to certain measure numbers throughout. Measures 25 through 27, you have 30 seconds, even a dotted 32nd followed by a 64th. Then you have 16th note triplets, some more 30 seconds, and finally 16ths. And it's important that we hear a difference between all of those. So if our tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, our 30 seconds, our 16th note triplets, and our 16ths. So we want to make sure each of those are very accurate when we play this passage. Another area to watch out for is measures 31 through 32. And this is tricky because you have a 16th note that's on the of beat 2, and then you have 32nd notes at the end of each next beat. It's really easy for those 32nd notes to become lazy and sound like 16ths, but you have to really crush them to the next beat. I almost try and place them on the next beat instead of being a pickup. Another point in this etude is with those really fast 32nd notes, those determine the tempo of the rest of this etude. It's too easy for this etude to start off because it has a half note and 2 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's tempting to start off. But then you realize when you get to 30 seconds, it's kind of messy and it's hard to hear each note. So whatever the tempo is that you can play your 30 seconds at cleanly and musically and effortlessly, that is the tempo for the quarter notes. So I like to take measure 43. And that becomes our tempo for the beginning. I want to try and maintain a steady tempo throughout this etude. The third point, and you can probably guess this with it being a lyrical etude, is there needs to be a lot of dynamic contrast. Rose actually gave us quite a few crescendos and decrescendos, both of the sort of written out hairpin type, and then writing out crescendo or diminuendo. So we have to do those, and also add your own. If it's just piano for 2 or 3 measures at a time, give it a little shape, build and go somewhere, and then sort of release and get softer coming back. That's what brings this music to life off the page. There's a few fingerings that I think you'll find helpful in this. The idea of resonance fingerings, which help our throat tones. The two I want to talk about in this are for G, second line, and A, second space. So if we take the G, for instance, that this etude ends on, if you just play it open, it has sort of a piercing or buzzy quality to it, but if you add the first and second fingers of the right hand, that makes a big difference in the tone quality, and it will actually help the intonation as well. that second line, or second space A, and for that, I like to add the second and third fingers of the left hand, the second and third fingers of the right hand, and that C key. And you can do this in maybe the fourth measure. Whereas that A is normally kind of nasal sounding, if we add these fingers, it makes it blend much better with the rest of the instrument. So starting in measure 3. And that was with a resonance fingering. But if I try that same passage without, it doesn't sound as clear or as beautiful as it does with these fingerings. Now, I'll say this with a point of caution. Don't try and use these on every single note. Only use them if you're comfortable with it and if it doesn't interrupt your rhythm. So, for instance, measure 27, where you have, I would not be using resonance fingerings for all of those. Maybe none at all, or just choose one. There I used it on the last A of the measure, but not in the 32nd notes, because it was going so quickly, it was going to make it sound messy. The last point with this etude is that it basically divides up into 3 sections. First is measures 1 through 28, which is very lyrical and beautiful and sort of tender and sentimental in nature. Then measures 29 through 32, we go into minor, we get sort of, it's angry, it's militaristic, it's assertive. And then 33, we start going back to that more lyrical style. So really try and bring those characters off the page and make this etude interesting. It's very, we have a lot of long phrases and we need to hear shape in those, but we also need to hear a story, like you're trying to tell us something, trying to express something in music that words aren't able to do. And that's really why we make music in the first place. I hope you found these tips helpful. If you have any questions or you'd like to take a lesson with me, send me an email at dcook@millikin.edu. Good luck with your All-State auditions and happy practicing.